We start our session with the session of Umul Kitab Al-Fatihah. So for today's session, we will start with a Khalid presentation followed by my feedback, and then we will continue with a Sara presentation, and then I will give feedback.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I will explain my match with Brother Faiz that we played on the 3rd of September. I am with the black and Brother Faiz with the white. Brother Faiz played this pawn, and I start with this pawn. Then he played the knight, and I played this pawn to allow for my my bishop to be there. Then Brother Faiz played this bishop, and I put my queen here. Also, then I played my horse to be able to castle. I usually play with this opening. Actually, I create this opening by myself. The idea of this is to bring my king here and put my rooks, both of to put my rooks in front of the king of my opponent, in front of. Sorry, I don't know what happened. This is not my laptop, so there is a problem with the camera. It's usually go on. The idea of this is to put my rooks, both of my rooks, in front of the king, so that will help me to make a strong attack against the king of my opponent. Then Brother Faiz start to attack me from this side, the side of my king. And I try to open a way here, so to eliminate my pawn and the pawn of Brother Faiz here. So I can open a way for my rook to be in front of the queen of Brother Faiz, so I can control this area. But Brother Faiz didn't attack me, he just preferred to keep this standing. I tried to open this way again. Here Brother Faiz put his queen to attack this side. So for me, the best way to deal with this situation is just ignore it and let him until he do his attack. And at the same time, I went back my knight to protect this area. So if he attacked by the queen, I will have my knight, and sorry, if he attacked by his bishop, I will have my knight and my bishop too. Here he preferred to attack by his pawn. So I just ignore it, because if he attack my pawn, I will I have this pawn to defend about it, and if he put his pawn here, I can just very easily go back my my bishop here, or even I can put it here. And then I continue on my attack here. Actually, I wanted to attack this area. And I was kind of comfortable here because I didn't feel that his attack is strong enough. Like I feel that I have enough materials here to defend about my king. And dear brother Faiz put his pawn here. He went to back to defend about his king in front of instead of the continue in his attack. So I just put my queen here to avoid that he put his bishop here and he treat my queen and then my rook. So if he put his bishop here right now, I can very easily put my bishop here or even can move my rook. Here I prefer to attack by the pawn. So I already was prepared for this scenario. I just kill his pawn by my pawn. Then he put his rook here to attack to threat my bishop. Actually, like I didn't feel that it's like a big threat because if he kill my bishop, I will kill it by my king. Then even if he put his bishop here, I have the horse to defend about this area, so I can kill his like if he like if he did like this, I will kill by picking this area. Then if he put his bishop here, I have the horse to defend about the king. So I just ignore this attack and continue with this pawn. He killed in his my pawn, and I killed this one. Actually, he helped me in my attack a lot when he killed my pawn, because that's open this side for me. Even if he take more pawn from me, even if he kills 2 pawns from me and I killed only one, but this is not important because he opened this way for me. And this way is more valued than my pawn. Then here he tried to protect his the knight, and I defeated his knight by my bishop. Then he withdrew, and this way become open for me. I played my knight to put it here and control this area to prevent his king from running away. Then I try to put my rook here so I can attack this pawn. Actually, here Brother Faiz helped me a lot when he didn't put his king here and run away, because when he put his rooks here to protect this soldier, to protect this pawn, he prevented his king from running away. Because right now I could very easily put my queen here. then his king becomes surrounded. But if he had did like this, he had put his queen here. Even if I will take a pawn from him, that he will be able to kill my queen by his queen, or even he can put his king here, like his king will be survived. But right now his queen becomes surrounded. Then I supported my attack by the knight, and I still didn't feel very dangerous. Didn't feel a dangerous from, or didn't feel a big dangerous from this attack. Like I still feel that I can deal with it without any help from these materials that are here. So like this, my knight and my bishop is enough to defend about the king if Brother Faiz try to develop his attack. And here Brother Faiz try to stop his attack and go back to defend about his king. And also here I noticed the time, like I have 15 minutes more, and Brother Faiz has only 8. So I depend on the time in my strategy, like even if I just keep this, I try to just keep this pressure here, even if I couldn't victory by getting the king, but just wasting the time that was useful for me. So I depend on this strategy, especially that because I am attacking and the king of Brother Faiz is dangerous. So usually Brother Faiz here become taking more time for thinking than me, because he know if he did any mistake here, he may lost his king. But for me, even if I did a mistake here, I will not lose the king. I may lose something here, but I'm not going to lose the king. So he was more caution than me, and that make him need more time. I put my knight here to try to kill knight by knight, because the position of this knight was disrupting me. Then I control it this area. I control it this way here, and also I treated this part by my queen and my both rooks. Here Brother Faiz tried to go back to his attack by the knight, and I put my rook here to treat his bishop. But actually, I don't know why didn't I kill this bishop. I don't know what happened here. I did here a mistake. And I didn't continue on my attack. Then I put my knight here to protect this area, this square. And then I put my queen here to treat his rooks. He continue with the attacking by the bishop because he feel like there is not a big dangerous from my attack, so he can go back to his attacking. I try to avoid. I try to avoid the killing of my bishop by put it in the back. Because if he took my bishop, like this area will be empty here, and my king will be without protecting, so he can very easily make a strong attack here, and he can take my king. So I just avoided killing my bishop and his bishop. Then he went back his bishop, maybe to open this way for his rook. And I avoid that by going back my bishop here. Here he tried to make to kill a queen by queen, but I just ran away. Then he went back his bishop to make my queen be far from his king. Actually, here, like Brother Faiz, by his attacking, by his by his disrupting for my queen, make me decrease my attack or make me gang back to defend. But actually, I just wanted to change the place of attacking. I feel that this area is more empty right now from this area, so I may be able to do something from this area. But he felt about that and he put his queen here. I just make a check here, and he went back his bishop to defend about his queen. So here he planning to attack my king from this way, because this way become empty and he become fully controlled on it. But actually, I didn't feel like a big danger from here, because even if he attacked by even if he attacked by his queen, he will not be able to put it here, because I have my bishop and I have my queen, so I may put it here, and I can very easily like if he put his queen here, I can very easily just move my king, and then he will not be able to continue on his attack. So I just decide to continue on my attack here, and I decide to treat his bishop. But actually, even when I doing this, I was not really planning to make very like a tough attack, like by killing one by one, like to make attack that, for example, I didn't try to attack his pawn here or making it very tough attack, because I was planning to win by the time. So I just wanted to waste the time. And if you make a mistake and open something for me, I can continue by attack. But if he didn't make any mistake and I couldn't find anyone here, I was planning to waste the time, because you can notice here he has only 1.5 minutes. Then he put his bishop here to avoid the danger of the rook and to treat the rook at the same time. And but I did a mistake here because I didn't attack the bishop. Actually, this was the end of the game, and I also can think about the time more, because he has 1.5 minutes. So I wanted to play quickly to prevent him from thinking in my time. Because like if I take time to make a good movement, he will use my time to think about it. So I just wanted to play quickly here to prevent him from taking time to think. Then he attacked my king here, but I already prepared for this scenario. And then he feels there is no, this will not be useful, because he just went, he just develop his attacking by the bishop. I killed the bishop and use it, and then he killed my bishop. I used this time to change the area of my king. When I put it here, it become like safe, very safe. Then when he tried to kill the queen by queen, I just put my pawn here to prevent that. Then he felt that is that continuing attacking is not useful, especially with his time. So he just went back to defend, and that was what I want. Because if he will just go to defend, the time will not be in his interest. Then I put my rook here to create this pawn, and it protect his pawn by the queen. I develop my attacking by on the pawn by the rook. Then he put his bishop here to protect the pawn. And also I used my other rook to this attack. Then he changes the place of his king. So I don't know why, but maybe because the time, like he didn't have enough time to think a lot about the movements. Then I attacked the pawn, and he put his queen here. I put my developed my queen to participate in this attack, and here I treated the king and treated the rook. Actually, Faiz put his king here because it's the time. Like he just put anything because of the time. So he lost this game here by the time, not because he cannot make a good movement here. But he didn't have time to think, so he just put his king here. Then when I put the king here, when I put my queen here, he moved his king, and I created this pawn. Here, brother was just put his queen here to protect the pawn, and he forget the rook. And here he went back his queen to protect his king. And I just put my rook here, so I could control this area. And like even here, if he wanted to put his rook here to protect the king, that will not be useful because I will kill it. So the game here was end. And thank you so much for your listening.
This is my feedback on Khalid game. So Faiz play d4 and then Khalid reply with e6. Here, if what we call a white play e4, then we get a French. If let's say white play c4, we get this the start of the Indian defense. For example, black can start with nf6, and then depending on the configuration, for example, if white play like this, black can go to Nimzo Indian. If for example white play this, black can go to this normal, what we call normal queen gambit decline, or black can also play later on somehow like this in order to make this this is basically queen Indian defense lah. But Khalid doesn't what we call play like that. White here play nf3. Okay, Khalid play b6. Still this is under queen Indian system. But then the what we call Faiz play e4. So when you see this e4, now we don't go to this d4 territory. Okay, so the difference between d4 opening here, this pawn here somehow will block this bishop here. The pass will be blocked by this pawn. So that's one of the perk of this e4 e5 opening. So if let's say later on the white castle here, so it take more time for the what we call for the black to attack here. Okay, and then Khalid play bishop b7 and then bishop d3 and then queen e7. This is quite a dubious move. Even though in the presentation Khalid say that the idea for this move is to move this knight and then to castle later on, but by doing so you also make this bishop here. You can see this bishop. Let me remove all this what we call all this color first. The bishop in the red here is quite will take sort of time to get developed. So that's one problem. The idea is not a problem. The idea to castle to the queen side is not really much a problem, but the problem is because of this bishop. It will take some time for this bishop to what we call to get developed. One more thing about this, if let's say later on let's say in the position Faiz play c3 after Khalid play nf6, Faiz play c3. Okay, let's see this first, and c6. So when Khalid play nc6, we know that Khalid's intention is to castle queen side, but the problem now, it's not a problem yet, but it allow white to launch this what we call the fast attack. You can see this what we call on the left side on the board, on the a5, you can see white can easily go ram his pawn from a2, a4, a5 and so on. here, if you look, when black castle here, if let's say black castle, let's say I put the null move here and black castle here, this pawn ram, we call it pawn ram, RAM, will able to break, to make a contact faster compare if let's say this pawn still on this original square lah, because this pawn is sort of like like invitation for white to sort of like giving this pawn push lah, pawn push and break this. This a little bit different than when you see the game like in Dragon and so on, because when you see in Dragon, for example, let's say I go to Sicilian Dragon, in Sicilian Dragon you have something like what we call like this, Sicilian Dragon, you have something like this, more or less like that. Okay, you see something like this. Yes, there are also, for example, the white also have this plan, go here and go here. The h pawn will be pushed forward. The difference here is that this bishop here, the dragon bishop, have free sort of like what we call this free diagonal. I mean, the diagonal is not hindered by any pawn. Okay, the diagonal is not like block lah. So it make black have a real counter chance on the queen side. So black can later on go here and make his own chance. If you compare this with the Khalid game, let's see, the Khalid game is where? Is here. Where is the thing? Here. This bishop, okay, this bishop, even though it's attacking there, they are like a pawn in the middle here. So it takes time for this bishop to get to be as effective as in the dragon setup. Okay, even though, okay, let's say now that's if let's say white castle here. What if white castle other side? Then it's not really much happening lah, because you castle the same side. Normally when you want to sort of like castle, when you do this opposite side castling, normally whoever get first to the king normally win lah. Okay, so this is what Faiz play. Faiz play c3. Let me remove all the color first, because it can be quite daunting having all this color. Let me remove that first. Remove this first. Remove this first. Remove this color first. Okay, so here, in order to punish black play, white, instead of playing c3, he should play d5. Okay, if you look here, there are no like pawn stopper on this d4 square, d5 square. Normally when you play d4 d5 opening, you have a pawn here, but here there are no pawn here, so the white can push forward. Whenever the center is not fixed, then you need to always be aware about this pawn push. So the best way is to just push there, to to not allow black to breath. Okay, and if let's say the knight goes away like this, this very dangerous. If you move your knight somewhere here, somewhere far from your king, from your territory, you might end up this knight get trapped. For example, here, let's say here, of course, the knight is attacking the bishop, so the bishop move first. Let's say bishop e2, but remember this knight doesn't have way back to this, and also this also not looking real good lah. So it have this possibility of getting trapped. Okay, now let's say black take there. Remember in the in the last class, we saw that there are some trick when people take something away and this bishop is blocked. There are sort of some trick like in the last class, in what game, in a Safidin or Nuril game, Safidin game, we can see that they are like, you can, if let's say there are bishop here, let's say they are, instead of here the bishop is here, then the the knight can go away and utilize the pin lah. If you want to know detail, you can refer previous class lah. But here The different here is the difference is about the knight. Okay, the knight cannot go back here because the pawn, his pawn is there. So here instead of what we call taking back, it just white can just a3. This is intermezzo, meaning that you trap the knight, so the knight cannot go there, and at least ni lah. Even if you take this, you need to be careful. Even if let's say you take this, then this what we call you can always have this and so on, and the file here is quite open lah. Even though you take knight, for example, if I take here, at least I have this file, and let's say now black take, and then I can just take there. Okay, and then now you see this file is open, ready to get exploit. And if you take with this, now you can take, you have like a time to sort of like attack this what we call this rook, and also the king also not very safe, everything is undeveloped and so on. Okay, so here, so that's why the intermezzo a3 is important, and what we call so if you the knight go there, then you just what we call just take lah, just take, and then you cannot take back because of course the queen protecting this thing, and also even that it give this for free lah. So you can see that's how you punish the thing lah. You punish the what we call the play. If let's say here the play here can be punished because of what we call, because of black is undeveloped, and also opening this, pushing this, sort of like open the file. Okay, it like if you take this, then it already opened the file, and the king still in the center. So normally when you facing this type of slow, for example, if you look this Khalid formation, this is okay, but this is undeveloped here. So, and also the center here is quite sort of like fluid, meaning that it's not fixed. So always be wary about the possibility of pushing the pawn forward. Cool. So that's one thing. So but what we call Faiz plays c3, which is the modest move, and in this case Khalid castle queenside. So here is quite dubious lah. I mean, we understand that this is set up, but as I said in the beginning, this allow speed attack here, speed attack there. In order for the what we call yeah, you just speed up the white attacks lah. So let's say we go b4, so now white start the attack with the b4, and then Khalid start the counter with the d5. Normally when you are getting attack on the flank, on the side, the best way to counter is to do something on the middle, so that at least your opponent get diverted to the middle of the board. Here there are what we call, there are two options. Either white want to capture or push. Both of the option is valid lah, because for example, let's say I take it. Okay, for example, in the game Faiz push forward by e5, closing the center. But you can also take in the center, because you have this what we call specific tactic there. If you take with the pawn, then you have this b5. Okay, you have the b5. Let's say knight goes to a5, and then you have this rook e1, and then you go to queen d6, because if you go to queen f6, then you have this spin lah, skewer. Okay, if so you go to queen d6, and then you have an e5 attacking this ni lah, this what we call this pawn on the f7. And if you see the configuration of black piece also quite strange. This is blocked, this also offside, this also undeveloped. So we can say that white already have a like significant advantage here lah. So that's why taking the pawn also is pretty good here, because you have this, white have this immediate attack. Normally when you want to attack on the side, you want to close the center like this e5, because when the center is closed, you don't need to what we call, you don't need to think about what happened in the center. You can focus your attack on the flank. So principally this pawn push is okay, is correct lah. But here white also have option to take straight away because of the immediate tactic. Okay, but if you play like this, you need to calculate a little bit, so that maybe some people they favor some positional play rather than this tactical play. So it depends on the person lah. If he want to play positionally, he just push forward like this lah, so that it can just slowly grind black to the death like that. And Khalid doesn't wait long, so he play f6 because why? If you just do something else, for example, you just play knight to here, then white will surely just go ram this thing forward and do some sacrifice and just make the king there. So you need to create some counterplay. So the f6 is one way of to break the chain in the center here, so that the pawn, the what we call the position will not, the position in the center particularly will not be blocked. Okay, and at least black can sort of like divert white attention to the center if the center have something happen lah. Okay, and then white play h4 and then h6. Okay, this is quite a mistake lah, because dubious. Because why? Because when you play this h6, yes, we understand why h6 is played. The reason for this is because if I take like this, at least the square here doesn't be available by the bishop, right? So that's why the reason why Khalid play h6, in order to prevent this bishop coming here to do this skewer here. But then by doing the h6, every pawn move create a weakness. This pawn move will create a weakness on the g6 here. So this g6 become weak. So in fact, the immediate nh4 already set sort of like guarantee white have some advantage, because now white plan to do the fork on the what we call on this g6, and this rook cannot really go there because the bishop is there. And the problem here is because this thing undeveloped, and this, especially this cannot be developed here, this also cannot be developed. And the reason being is because of this queen. The queen on the e7 really make the black position cramp. It doesn't allow this bishop go out. The knight also doesn't have a place to go, and so on. So the h6 is quite not a blunder, but just a mistake lah, quite a mistake there. Even here, the immediate a5 also can be played, because it takes time for black to launch an attack. Even though black also have the plan to attack here, it takes more time because there are no hook. The pawn here is what we call is on its original square, so it takes time for black to reach to contact the white, compared to white contact the black. Okay, but in the game, Faiz play queen e2. So normally this is a typical ways to exchange this bishop, because this bishop, the bishop on the b7 is a guardian for this square, the light square. If this bishop is gone, then all the light square around the king will be very weak and very easy for what we call for the white to exploit. So that's why Khalid play and b8, and then anyway just go Faiz go a5 anyway. But again, nh4 is sort of like winning straight away lah, because you have this square and white need to do something. Okay, yeah, you already get it, because the rook cannot go there because of the bishop. So this is much more cleaner lah, much more cleaner winning ways. But a5 is okay, still okay. And then Khalid play f5. Okay, so here the position here actually is already sort of like winning for white. With the engine, with the computer, it's easy to say that, but during the game, this may be quite difficult to see. Here Khalid play f5, closing this center, which make life for white much easier, because now white doesn't need to care about this bishop, any change in the center. This rook cannot go somewhere, this bishop cannot go somewhere, this knight also cannot go here because of the queen. This bishop also doesn't have any life also, because it's hitting the granite. So, and this rook also cannot really move. So if you look here, it's very cramped. I mean, black position is very cramped. But remember, when you play, it needs, for example, what we call, although here white is winning, completely winning, but remember, in chess anything can happen. Anything can happen. Only if, okay, it's very hard to suggest. Okay, it's very hard to suggest any, what we call, any move, any defensive resource for the black, because the black position is really, I can say, is beyond salvation. Only if white cooperate with black, for example, white do something that had black, only then black get this what we call, this counter chance. If let's say white doesn't give any chance, doesn't help black in any way, then it will be easy win lah. In this game, after Khalid play f5, white play h4, which is, this is what make this give chance to black lah, because now suddenly you give this hook. Okay, suddenly you give this hook. This knight cannot move, and more importantly, this allow black to contact to the white pawn faster. And if, for example, if take, then you open the file like in the game. So this, in fact, in white, what we call in white, this is what we call the reason, one of the main reason why white is lost lah. It's not lost yet. White still have an advantage here, but then it allow black having some counterplay. That's the ni lah. So the best thing is to go to just take, instead of playing h4, just take there. Okay. Okay, and then you take, and then c4. Okay, the reason for this is because you cannot just win by just having a file alone. You cannot just win just having this one thing and that's it. You need to bring your piece together. Okay, by the way, Sara, wait a little bit because your game is quite what you call, quite not easy. I mean that short, so it's okay lah. So Sara, wait for a while. Let me finish this first. Okay, so in this thing, in this position, in order to continue the attack for white, okay, is to open more file. Not only this open more file, if you take, is also what we call, actually the idea for this is to push this forward, to sort of like destroy black cover even more. So the idea for this c4 is to, what we call, to move forward, and also to give sort of like a square for the knight, because you see white piece also still not developed here. Okay, so it have this function, this c4 here have function to move forward and also give square for the knight. Okay, let's say white take, black take, and then you can have this bishop times c4, bishop, the pawn. If you can see here, by taking on, by moving the pawn, here, c4, it's as if helping white, unleashing this bishop, right? It's as if now the bishop is having this opportunity to take on f3 and so on. But remember, by doing that also, this bishop also have some life. Now you can see this bishop is aiming at this weak square, and this queen can go here and attack that, and attack together with the bishop, attack this, what we call, this weak pawn. So in this position, for example, let's say black play g5, and then white can just go to what we call a2. So here white doesn't need to worry about this knight. Some people worry about this bishop take, because they think that, oh, now you have a double pawn and so on. But double pawn is, as I said, or weakness is only weakness if you can attack it. But here, how can black attack this what we call the open file, because the file still closed because of this pawn, the black pawn himself is on the way, and plus black need to, what we call, need to settle about this problem, this pawn. And now also you have this problem, this, what we call, the weak square around the king. And yes, it's very easy lah to do the thing, and you can just bring the knight out, bring the bishop out, bring the what we call the rook in, and so on. So that's the way, that's the reason why instead of playing h4 like in the game, instead of playing h4, white need to straight away taking here, okay, take there, and then create the chance, attack straight away. I mean that because if you have advantage, if you don't use that, then the advantage will be evaporate. Now it's as if now when white in the game, white play h4, as if now white start to react to what black do lah. So when you start reacting and not what we call not doing your plan, then you know something very wrong. Of course, you need to react if let's say things, for example, let's say your opponent threaten the back rank mat and so on. Of course, you need to react that. But in this case, you don't need to react this what we call the pawn advance is not really dangerous because it takes time. It takes far more time for the black to advance his pawn compared to white, which his pawn already on the h5. So you don't need to what we call to waste time by playing h4. And then queen f7. The idea here is that when the idea for Khalid, the idea why queen h4 is because if let's say Khalid go, if let's say later on Khalid play h5, and then this the pawn cannot make the position close because black can just take this pawn lah. So that's the reason for this. And also one of the reason, like what Khalid said in the presentation, the reason why he moved his queen here is because to avoid any skewer. This we call it skewer lah, not the pin. The pin happen when whatever in the middle is lower value than whatever in the back lah. But here the queen is higher value than the rook, so we call this skewer, SKEWER, skewer. So that's why Khalid moved to this what we call queen f7, quite a mysterious move lah. So and then what we call white just take and then rook a7. Now rook a7. So this is quite strange because you cannot just win by just one rook. Okay, this rook you need another rook here in order to do something there, because this bishop is quite what we call good defensive piece, and also this knight also prevent any trick on this what we call a6. So rook a7 here is seems like quite dubious. It's much better for white to move his knight and go there to activate everything. So to invite everybody to join the attack is much more important than attacking with one piece only, because the probability for this to succeed is very low lah, because you only have the rook and you only have the bishop and the queen, and this thing you have the bishop and also this knight also have the defensive resource. So you need to bring all the thing in the game. So Khalid play g5, and here you are not obliged to capture actually. So in this game, Faiz take, and when this is really a blunder lah, because when you take and then now you give this what we call black this open file lah, the very dangerous, not is more dangerous this than this lah. This file, the one that h file, is more dangerous than the file that white have, because now even though white take this on g5, you have this. Not only that, you have another file there. You can just gang up this rook here and so on like in the game. So it's far more dangerous. Now the position for black is far more desirable than the than white. So let's see here first before we go there. Let's see first how actually white should play here. Okay, how actually white should play here. We can see that taking here is not good because it just gives Khalid the the file, the very dangerous file. So how then white need to what should do here? Okay, so in order to understand what should do here, we need to see how actually white can break this configuration. Let me put this in yellow. So this is quite tough configuration because of white, because of this bishop. This bishop is very important defensive, what we call defensive piece. If this bishop is gone, for example, this bishop is gone, then it's very easy to launch an attack lah. But now how to sort of like take to do something with this bishop? You cannot take straight away because this, even though you take this, you have the knight there. Okay, so how actually you want to break this defense? Normally, when you want to attack the what we call the situation where your opponent have this fianchetto bishop, more often than not, you must sort of like do something to this bishop in order to break the cover, in order to break the defense. This bishop is very good defensive piece now. So how to break this defense? As I said, we cannot take. So we need to sort of like bring up all the piece first, and then only then we can take. Because imagine now you put the queen there, queen a2, and then let's say black take on this thing. So here you don't worry, don't worry, you don't oblige to it. So let's say now black take on the h4. So here first black doesn't have this file, so that's one thing. And also it takes time for black to move this rook to here, and also to queen here. So it takes time and so on lah. So let's say let's see what white can play. So let's say white goes to this, what we call to f4, and then here is not really good lah, because you know that you take this lah. So you go to this bishop f4 to sort of, the idea for bishop f4 is not much to protect whatever. It's just to make this first rank available to the rook. Okay. So so this bishop f4 and e7 in order to move the rook on this open file, the half open file, and then nbd2. So if you can see here, compare this in the game, you can see now this rook now can have something to do here. Okay, something to do there. And then let's say now knight go somewhere there to attack the bishop here, and then the bishop run away, and then queen go here, starting to sort of like piling up down the file. Then now we can see the idea of white. White goes to the a1. So now you have three things along this file, but still this bishop is pretty powerful. So the idea now is that why you pile up this 1, 2, 3 is because if let's say we give a null move, let's say I give a null move for white, let's see what the idea, null move for black, let's see the idea how white should continue the attack. White take on this thing and take that, and then you have this queen a8. So now the queen cannot go, what we call, cannot go up, so you need to go back, and then you have this rook go there. Okay, you rook go there. The idea is that you want to go here. The idea for the rook to f7 is that you want to check here. So that's the idea. So you go, but the main threat here is that now white threatened to go there to make like to sort of like construct to what we call to prevent white king from get out. Okay, so that's the threat. The threat is to go there and then checkmate on the b7. Okay, and then let's say the black know what white plan, so black goes away, get out, and then now you have check anyway, and then you have queen 7, and then you have this rook c7 lah. So that's the way how to break to sort of like break the defense, break the black defense. If you look again, okay, the idea for this how to break, just take there, and then take, and then you have this thing, and then you go there, and then you have rook there, and to make a checkmate somewhere here, and of course now you have this rook bishop here to do something and so on lah. So for example, that's the idea here. So that if I give a null move lah. But if let's say black defense, c6. So normally this is basically defending across the rank lah. We call it defending across the rank. Now the queen can defend the bishop lah. So then you just open lah. White can just open everything and this cannot move and so on, and it much easier for white to play lah. Okay, so that's how for you to break this type of what we call this type of position where you have this bishop there. Normally you put your bishop here, but the problem here you cannot do it because you have a knight. The other way is just you sort of like triple on the A file here and then take the bishop like before, triple there and then take the bishop and then you check, then king goes back and then rook a7 and all sort of tactic will happen lah. So that's how you do it lah. But in the game, Khalid, Faiz take that, giving this what we call the opportunity and so on lah. And then white take that and then queen g6 and then f4 and then bishop e7 and then f3. This is quite slow lah. You basically need to continue to develop lah. Continue to develop there. It's much easier lah, because the knight also, if you take, then it's not really a problem. For example, if you go here, if you take, doesn't really a problem because you have the bishop there, right? You have the bishop, is block the block the file there, so it's not really a problem. The knight there, it doesn't really do anything anyhow. And then you have this n6. The position here is quite equal lah. We can say it's equal. Previously white is winning, but now the position is equal because now you can see that black have this counter chance and also they have this counter chance, and also white piece also doesn't really develop yet and so on. Black piece is keep coming one by one. So this how counterplay is counterplay is used lah. So king f2 and so on. This here is still equal lah. Rook g1. So for example, you rook g1 to protect the pawn, and then queen g3. And here this make quite suffocated lah, because now the king cannot get out because of the queen here. So it much better for white to go to e3 and then go here and make things much easier lah. Okay. Let's say check and then just go to the what we call king d2 and much easier to defense lah. But in the game, Faiz play king f1, so you have this sort of like this suffocated king there, and then knight goes there, rook a2 to defense. So you can see the rook there. At the end, one piece cannot do anything, so it goes back to the defense, and then h2 take and a3. So here we can see that the position still what we call still. So this is bad lah. This is bad. This is like a blunder lah. I mean the here you can see this pawn is the most important pawn. Okay. But to protect this pawn is easy. You have king, you have rook, and also you have the what we call the queen. So the attacker, the black only use 1, 2, 3. So this pawn 1, 2, 3. So this pawn, the one in yellow, is also defended 3 times. So it's okay. This bishop also cannot do anything because it's blocked by the pawn, his own pawn. So in terms of defense, that's still okay lah. Still okay. But here, and also plus you have white also have another what we call reinforcement from the rook here. In the game, white play this thing. White play this thing and a3, which is quite a blunder here. Because why? Because remember, this, even though you have this what we call this pawn is protected 3 times, although it's attacked 3 times, but still there are still some tactic can happen. For example, na3, and then this is good move lah, rook h2, because now sort of like exploiting this pin here. You see this pin. So the good thing here, in order to sort of like still in the game, is that white should play bishop e3. Bishop e3, if you look here, bishop e3 is protecting this what we call this rook. So there are no trick for the pin anymore. Okay, so so that's the idea lah. And because on white need to protect only 1 pawn, so it's much easier lah to defense. Even though white position is quite cramped here now, but at least it's defendable. Okay, but in the game, white play na3, and then you have this rook h3. You have this thing you cannot take, because you take, you get this rook, and that's why bishop e3 is better than knight a3 just now, because now this is attack lah. This is attack. And then you play nb5 and then rook h2. I mean, this also why you just take lah. It's free, right? It's free there. Because you take. Okay. If you take the if you take with this, you have this intermediate check here. So you have check. Okay. And then you can take this later on lah. Okay. So that's the so the this make the position drawish again, equal again. Okay, I think I will stop here lah, because I want to give a chance for Sara also to present. But at least we can see from this Khalid game that how the advantage can dissipate very easily if you cooperate with your opponent. For example, in this case, the main mistake for white is here lah, giving the hook, giving the target for black to do something. Okay. And also we learn also how to break down this bishop defense here is by what we call by tripling by going there, and then where is the thing? Let me see first. Where is the thing? Yeah, but by tripling on this whatever file and then capture the thing, and then you can just check there, and then whatever you just bring the rook in and then threaten the checkmate and so on. But in order to break that bishop, to do that exchange sacrifice, you need to make sure you have all the piece together lah, not only have one bishop lah. In the game, the reason why it doesn't work, because you see there are no piece, no tripling here and so on, and also this what we call this knight and this bishop is quite not developed and so on. So I think that's it from me for Faiz and Khalid position.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today I will present again. I'm white and Hafiz is black. So like always, I will play d4 London, and yeah, opening. Yeah, and here I don't really like if my opponent move here. Either I will move here or here. If I move here, I can protect this diagonal, because I know knight will move here. But if I move here, this knight has only, if I want to develop, this will only go here. So I think it doesn't look bad, but it kind of ugly. Yeah. So I move here. And yeah, continue to opening. Yeah. So Dr. Wan said that it doesn't look. It's okay if I take this with pawn, but the thing is, I know this will go here, and I need to protect with only this. So I proceed with opening, and take, and here. So as we move, a lot of accuracy and mistake, because engine said that either black or white should take this, and if I mean if black take this, so this will this will open as I will take only with this. Let's see. Yeah, my plan is that I want to move this here as this already open, and this also like kinda for me, so I want to control everything here. So the kind of mistake for me. The reason I move this king here because I want to move here and active my knight back. So because I know black will double the rook, so I want to like trade the rook because I think it's good for my game if this both rooks leave the game has been deleted like that. So and I don't remember why I don't eat this. So black take first and I go first. And this is a mistake from black. I can easily take this because it's free, but I don't see that. So I run my king one. Check and go on. And my time is over. That's all.
Now my feedback on the Siti Sara and Hafiz Jamil game. So you can see Sara open with a d4 and then you going to this London setup. c5, e3, d5, and c3, queen b6. Okay, in the presentation Sara said she doesn't like this queen b6 move. Yes, queen b6 move is one of the move that one of the main move for black in London lah, because if black play normally in London like this and castle or whatsoever, then there are no exploitation of from black lah, because remember white bishop which firstly on c1 which initially cover this pawn on the b2 already out. So when you do that, this pawn is quite shaky lah. So that's why the best way for the black most of the time when you play London, when you move the bishop out, the queen will go to the b6. So how to deal with this queen b6? Okay, in the game Sara play queen c2, still okay lah, it's not bad. If you see in London proper, normally this we call the way how normally black play against London is by not pushing this first lah. Of course there are games that black play e6 anyway, but most of the time he doesn't push that first in order to give the bishop this space lah. So normally in proper London is basically like this: d4 and f6, and then d5, bishop c4, bishop f4, c5, c3, and then ns6. So black sort of delay this move in order to move the bishop there lah. So e3, and then only then you go there. So the difference between this, the proper London against London compared to what we call the Sara game, is that now black have this ni lah, like this bishop free to get out. So in the game this bishop is hindered. It's still not a problem. It's not really a problem. It's just the option limited lah. But now Sara play queen c2. Okay, queen c2 is okay. but this is far more testing lah, because if let's say don't worry about this, because even though you have this double pound, you also have this half open file, you get this compensation. If you take, then you can take with pound, whatever you can take with this pound, and still this constellation is quite okay lah, quite okay. So this is not really what we call a bad double pound. It's not necessarily lah, but of course for here black must take lah, because if black don't take, then white will take, and then this is not really dangerous anymore lah. It's not really bad anymore, because you have this 1, 2, 3 pound. So black need to take. Here is better for white to take with the E pawn lah, because if you take this still you have the open file, still in the middle game, in this opening it's still not bad, but you have this, black can just go very fast lah, can go castle and can go have this and so on. But in this position, we even white take with this, we can say white is okay, white is still okay, because this also the open file for white, even though black can also occupy this file. This also an open file for white, this also an semi-open file for the white. So we can say even though taking with this C pawn, the C take D still okay, because even though this will be a weakness in the endgame, the endgame is still far away, still middle game. Even though without queen, we call it queenless middle game. So this position still okay for white, still good for white, because black is behind not really behind the development, but I can say that both sides is okay now. Both sides have their own advantage lah, advantage and disadvantage. But at least white have this thing, this immediate advantage lah. Not really big advantage, but at least have something lah. Black needs somehow waste some time to move here and so on in order to activate his rook. Okay, so now in the game, Sara play queen c2 and then nc6 and then nbd2 and then nh5. During the presentation, Sara said that she doesn't not really afraid about this knight taking the bishop, because he said that I said if let's say do some move like bishop e2 in the game, you do like this, you have this what we call the square. You can control the square, so black cannot go forward easily. But remember, even though I said that every position need to be treated differently, I mean that every position have different nuance. In this position, there are tactical reason why saving this is much more important. I mean, don't left this thing on the f4, because why? Because there are tactical reason for that. Because in the game, Sara play bishop e2, there are tactical reason, which is this: black can take on this thing. Okay, black can take this thing, exploiting the fact that this queen not only look after this b2 pawn, but also this queen also attacking the something in the center. So don't forget this queen not only attack this b pawn, but also attacking the center. So here you cannot take, because if you take with this thing, you just give the free bishop. But if you take with this thing, similarly you can just you can not take here lah. Don't take here, because you have this. Still same lah. I think still same. But at least, yeah, still same. But at least you have check. Yeah, whatever. You can have this. Yeah, still same. But if you take, but the best way is just to take with the knight, and then you take with the e pawn, and this pawn will be sort of like hanging lah, and you get free pawn lah. Actually, you get this, and then let's say you want to protect the pawn, and then bishop d7. So in this case, we can see that black is up a pawn. You see that black is already a pawn up. Black has 7, while 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, while white have 6 pawn only without any composition. The black pawn structure is quite intact now. It's not bad. If you compare here, for white you have this like structure, very weird structure, still not bad, but at least a pawn is a pawn. Now black is down a pawn, black is up a pawn. Okay, so that's why this thing is a mistake. Moving the bishop there is a mistake because of, not because of you afraid about the double pawn here. It's because of the tactical happening in the center. Okay, so yeah. But black Hafiz takes straight away, which is doesn't use the advantage lah. Because if you take straight away, then nothing happen lah. It's just normal lah. Just normal. Nothing happen here. So Hafiz should take on the center first. Okay, on the center first, and then deal with the, because you have this, what we call this thing. You have this thing. Okay. So that's the tactical reason that caused that every position need to be treated differently. I mean, they have a different reason for every position lah. Okay. Take. Wait. Can you take this thing? You check here. Oh, if you check, you can just bring back lah. So it's not really a problem. So knight can always go back. A piece can always go back. So sometimes we think that we can get back the knight, but don't forget that the knight can go back again also to block the check. Okay, so that's the thing. That's the reason why bishop e2 is the mistake. So the best move, the good move is that to just go back here lah. In this case, going back is necessary. Certain time, going back is not necessary. It's just optional. But here, because of the tactic, you need to go back. Okay, so going back here. And then bishop d3, bishop d6. But remember, this this is free. This thing is free. This thing is free. For black, this is free because you have one. You have, let me put in green lah. One. Let me remove this. 1, 2, 3 attack this pawn, and only have 1 and 2. There are 2 defender. There are 3 attacker. So you can always take lah, provided there are no tactical lah. Here, if you take, and then you take, this tactic doesn't work lah, because you can block. Okay, normally, if there are no block here, then white can take again lah. So that's the thing. Let's see the game. So in the game, black didn't take. It just go to bishop d6, and then g3, and then 0-0. Again here, this still free. Still free. Just take that. Okay, but the difference here now, white is not obliged to take back. If white take back, same like the what we see before lah, just take, and then black just have this, what we call the extra pawn, and white doesn't have any compensation for that. Okay, just give a pawn for free. But in this case, if you look here, the difference here now, compared to previous is that white have this c4, the c4. The c4. So now you have this, like what we call, white threatened to sort of like break the center. Previously this doesn't work, because if you look here, if you see before here, if I may, let me put here, and then c times d4. Wait. Okay, this thing. Okay. Here, this doesn't really what we call doesn't work lah. Because why? Because you just, if you do like this, you take you can just take you just take this thing lah. New variation, you just take this thing, and then you take this thing, and then you can you have this, I think you have this check lah, you have this check in the middle, and then you have this pawn to push forward. Okay. So let's see in the game, we go here 0 0 0 0, and then this thing 0 0. Okay. Okay, now so here white also castle. Okay, actually white here can release all the tension in the center by just taking on the c5, so you don't need to worry about whatever happen in the middle board lah. So that's what should be done. But white castle, okay, the proper way is not castle, but just take this first, take the c5 first. At least now there are no what we call no free pawn given. So castle, and then bishop d7 and g5. Here there are not much can be done by this knight, even though he straightened the checkmate. But of course, what we call black just simply what we call defend that easily. Okay, here f5, so there are no more, and this knight now seems very strange lah in here. And then now white play Sara play ndf3, which is quite, it seems like you developing the move, but now this is the case of what we call the superfluous or redundant knights. You have two knights, but these two knights, this knight is redundant lah. It's like redundant, so you can, this knight also prevent the bishop or the queen coming in and so on. It's quite a redundant knight there, a case of redundant knight. This knight is better to go somewhere here to protect the queen side. Okay, the good way is just to take that again, and then take that, and then go there. So you use the knight to the fullest rather than to be redundant. If you do as in the game, the knight here, the one in the green, is redundant. But if you take there, you take the knight, go to b3, bishop e7, and f3. At least the knight here have certain purpose. It can go here, it can go here. It can go to what we call to d4. It can go to here. This rook can go here. So at least you have a purpose there. But in this case, white play ndf3, and then black just what we call harass the knight on this g5, and then knight need to go h3. But here also much better to take this first. Just take that first to avoid any something happen in the middle. Okay, just take that first, and then what we call, and then bishop takes c5, and then nh3, because the different now nh3, now black in the game he take that, and now at last black see this thing, and then take, and then take the thing. So now giving black easy pawn, 1 pawn advantage. Compare if let's say you take first, let's say here, instead of going back first, instead of that, white just take this what I call first, then at least you don't give a pawn for free. Yeah, is it the same? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, 1 2 1 2. Okay, for black we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and for white you have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, so this if you take on the c5 straight away. But if you don't, like in the game, for example, in the game, instead of taking on the c5, white just go back to this h3. What happened is that now you have this, take this. Is it the same? Oh, let's count. 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then black have black have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Yeah, you have the extra pawn. Just a single move can change everything. A single move change everything. I don't know why suddenly you get this. Why? Oh, because you take back. Okay, so you get this extra pawn compared to the what we call this thing. Instead of going back straight away, you take that first, at least now you have this pawn still intact. This pawn, the one that I put in blink now. This pawn still there. In the game, this pawn, the one that I put in the red now, is not there because black have times to sort of like taking in the center first, rather than white. So in the game, black take dia, and then the pawn on the c3 need to take back lah. So that's the reason why white lost 1 pawn. So take, and you have this thing, and you go queen b6. So now with 1 pawn advantage, it's enough for black to win this position lah. I mean, because the 1 pawn advantage is not any pawn, it's a central pawn. And also on top of that, on top of having extra pawn, this pawn also is passed. On top of that, also black also have this what we call the bishop pair. So, and on top of that also, this knight, white knight also offside. So all this factor combined up, making black can easily convert this position into a winning position. It's already winning, but it's much easier to win this game than if, let's say, if you do something like this, when this pawn is still there. So, and the pawn still what we call still the same. I mean 7-7 for both sides. Even though now black, even though black have this what we call this bishop pair here, still the position is close. It's not really easy to utilize this bishop pair. Of course, black still have some advantage here because of this offside knight on the what we call h3. But yeah, you can just easily reroute later on lah. Just move somewhere, just maybe go here, this king go there, and the knight go back here, and then move the bishop, and the knight go here and go here back. So at least the task for defense for white is much easier here compare if as in the game lah. In the game, you have this thing, you have this position. Okay, you have this position, much easier for black to sort of like play. Okay, because without this pawn on the c3, not only that, black have this thing, the rapid occupation of the c file. So that's one move. The one move that change everything is here. This thing, whether you take it or you allow black to take it. That one move enough to make game or win or loss lah. Normally in chess, the most difficult, not the most difficult lah. I mean, among the not the problem, but most of the mistake happen because of this tension in the center. Okay, we always confuse. Do we want to take first or we want to save our knight first? Do we want, for black also, do I want to take this first or what? So on. So the tension in the center, how to resolve that tension on center. If you master that, then most of the time you can have good good game lah. You understand what you do. In the game also, Sara said that she also have less time. Similar to the Khalid said, if we see Khalid game for a while, I mean Sara is done. Sara, the game is done because after this, after queen b6, is almost easy lah. The rest no need to, we don't need to discuss further lah, because it's very clear the black plan. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about time. In the game with Khalid and Faiz game, Khalid said that during this position, okay, at this position, during his presentation, Khalid said that Faiz already get like 1 minute, around 1 minute like that, and Khalid have somehow like 8 minutes or 9 minutes, and he want to win time. And the strategy for Khalid use is that to keep pressuring the what we call this pawn on this g2. Just keep pressuring like that and so on, hoping that the opponent have less time lah. In this position, yeah, that's one of the valid strategy lah. Win time also winning So don't get like, oh, I don't want to win time because it's not gentleman and so on. No, winning time, still winning. You still, what's more important is winning. There are no prize for nowadays. There are no prize for the best game or the beautiful game or whatever. People just only concerned whether you win or you lost. So if you win time, still winning. So it doesn't really matter. So that's why Khalid's strategy to keep pressuring this thing still correct, because to defend this position, the position in front of you, is much easier than it's much easier to be black in this position than white. Even though the position here, if you put in the engine, is equal. This position is equal because black cannot do anything also, because this thing, what we call, this pawn is adequately protected. This rook also protected by this what we call, this bishop, and there are no like pin lah, no pin and so on. So even though the position theoretically level, but remember, in practical chess, human will tired. Human will tired after playing long game. Human will feel tired, and that's when the mistake occurs. And it's much more difficult to find the defensive move than the attacking move, because when you try to defend against an attack, you need to find the only move. Normally you need to find the best move. If one mistake during defense, then you gone. So that's take a lot of your mental resource lah. You will be tired and so on. And normally human will make mistake and so on. So that's why putting the pressure is a good strategy lah. Good strategy and so on. But 1 minute, you said, Khalid said that his opponent has 1 minute. 1 minute is quite long. Actually 1 minute for top level is quite long, but in this position, yes, 1 minute feel quite short lah, because white need to have this find the best defensive move lah, and so on. So here and so on we already discussed, but the problem for black is that for white is basically he doesn't create his own chance. Black keep pressuring, and at the end white make a blunder and so on. And that's why I said human element, the what I call the tiredness, tiring, the after the long game also count in chess game. So I think we done with the Siti Sara, Khalid, and also Siti Sara. So in the Siti Sara game, we learn about this, what we call the center. Don't just take the don't just take the advice on the surface only. Of course, I said that this bishop is okay. If the pawn goes there, if the pawn goes there is okay. But in this specific position, it's not okay because of the tactic here, on the tactic in the middle of the board. So always need to treat each situation concretely. The advice that I give is more or less generic, but every position has its own what we call exception. The only rule that doesn't have exception, as I said, is checkmates and the game. That's the only rule that doesn't have any exception lah. The rest always have exception. For example, the knight on the side, some people said bad, but in this case it's okay. So always treat each position concretely. That's how you want to improve lah. You can base in generality, but at one point, if you want to improve further, you cannot rely on generality anymore. You need to find exception. You need to find a nuance for each position. So I think that's it for Siti Sara and Hafiz Jamis. Let me change this thing and let me bring myself here. Let me find myself. Where is myself? Let me pin myself first. Wait, Siti Sara. Let me remove pin. I put myself as a pin. So let me move here first. So I think, okay. So that's it for today. So um, so for tomorrow, I think we have what we have to present. Let me check the schedule first. For tomorrow, we done with Safidin. We done. So we done with Safidin. We done with presentation by Khalid and Sara. So tomorrow will be Faiz and Mizan. Tomorrow Faiz and Mizan. So that's it for today. So wait for a while, but let us end our session today with a recitation of Tasbih Kafarah and Suratul As.